Do you think you have some infatuation with death? Why are you able to handle this sort of thing? I couldn't handle some of the images that we pulled up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, like what makes you think you're able to digest that visually and emotionally and everything, and how does it digest for you?
Yeah, I started healthcare really young in life, high school. All my friends were taking shop, and I decided to take a nursing aid class. I figured I'd be able to bathe the girls. Well, that didn't work out so well.
That body shop, homie. You know what I'm talking about.
I should have took shop, but
that woodworking.
But I always had a fascination with healthcare, and then I went into other things. And at one point, cardiopulmonary respiratory therapy. So we managed life support systems. So
okay, so then you're getting close to death. Then,
so yeah,
you're on the edge right there.
RT deals with trauma. We're the airway in that regard. So we're involved in every traumatic death.
RT, when you say that?
Respiratory therapists
okay.
are always in the ER working for major codes and car accidents and things like that.
So you were around a lot of that?
So, yeah, I mean, we manage the life support system. Sometimes we have to pull the plug or turn the machine off.
No.
And
that's what so you'd have to actually pull the plug?
Yeah, well, you just turn the power off, but yeah.
You'd think you'd at least pull the plug, like at least it's
eventually you do. I mean, you have to take the machine out, but terminating life support on somebody, by the time you're at that stage, they've done brain tests to see if there's any brain activity, and these people don't want to live on a machine. It's not like they're alive and talking to you at that stage. But again, we see we see a lot of trauma, and I've always had this. I've always wanted to see. I wonder what paramedics and police see. I wonder what people look like when they don't make it to the ER. I can remember having my brother was in the Iraq War, the first one a long time ago, and he'd brought back some pictures, and he had some pictures of extremities and things, and I was just fascinated to see that. I don't know why I was born that way. But I was really fascinated to see some of that. And then
that a la carte, huh?
Yeah, and so then later in healthcare and seeing trauma, we don't, for someone that's not in healthcare, yeah, it's hard to see and imagine, but I don't necessarily see. My eyes I'm looking at science and anatomy. That's just a femur or that's just a brain. This is parts of the anatomy that we've studied and seen before.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm seeing you. I'm not seeing Theo. I'm seeing I just in general brain and
knees and whatever.
Yeah.
arms.
I mean, people say, how can you be a coroner because you see bad stuff? Well, an orthopedic surgeon will take your arm off, and they're dealing with blood and all kinds of things, and they remove your arm and then put it back on. So it's the same thing, kind of. It's just what we see.
Do you think there was a reason you got into that line of work then? Do you think there was like something that, like you had this this dark side that led you into it? It seems like you came a little bit more through like the medical profession.
So but I've always had I've always leaned towards healthcare. Mm-hmm. I've always worked in the trauma area of healthcare.
So there was something fascinating about it a little bit?
Yeah, I've always just had it. I was just born to do this kind of stuff. I don't do the coroner's office for money. It's not I saved my best friend's life, and I look back on that, and it was a blessing to have that that ability.
Amen. And to be able to just be there and be a part. Yeah, if you hadn't been there, who knows?
Yeah, so
that's a real gift.
But yeah, I don't know what shifted me into it. It's kind of like I was always set up to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
you can handle it.
Absolutely. And to your retired police officer, he was like, man, those guys can eat. Yeah, we can eat. That doesn't bother me. I can eat a meatball sub or boudin cracklins in an autopsy break room.
Damn.
When you're hungry, you're hungry.
I guess, brother. Damn, boy. I don't know. I wouldn't have a French dip, though. That seems a bit much.
Yeah, I think. It's pretty good. I like French dip.
I would do that at home, I think.
Yeah. Now, we don't eat standing over a body.
You got to stand off to the side.
You got yeah. Just there's a little break room. You can go hit it. You can go hit it and quit it.
And plus, down in Southeast Louisiana, bro, or if you're down in Southwest, a lot of the bodies down there could be caused by Dustin Poirier too, dude.
That's right.
If you down in Southwest Louisiana, bro.
Yeah, if you got a good ass whooping.
I'm not saying he's a serial killer, but I definitely know.
Right.
I bet if you,
And fighting, we had a young guy died. He was punched once. And it was a hard enough hit, and he collapsed and hit the cement, and that's really unfortunate. But again, it doesn't take much,
Life's pretty fragile. Does it seem like that?
It really is. It really is. Every day's a gift, man. Some of the things we get frustrated with our family and friends are not worth the frustration because they may not be here tomorrow, or you won't be here tomorrow, and I learned that.
Yeah, have you learned that? Has that had a big effect on you? That's really fascinating. Yeah, you're like, this is not a big deal.
Yeah, it's really not. You could be pumping gas and a tire flies off a car and takes you out. I've had, single trees fall on cars, just the most bizarre things. But when God's ready for you, he's going to take you.
God.
The hardest part, and we were talking about suicides earlier, the blood and guts don't bother me. But for me anyway, when I read a suicide note, that's what sticks with me. I can remember every one I've read. For some reason, it's personal at that point. Not, hey, I'll be in the barn, come find me in the barn. Maybe a child emails their suicide report note to their family. I mean, can you imagine? And or just a long letter. It makes it more personal, and that sticks with me longer than anything else.
And what do those entail a lot of times? If you're looking through them notes, what are they putting in there?
Well, don't blame yourself kind of thing. I'll always be an angel on your shoulder, and just real personal things. I didn't do this because of you, or it's for some reason that sticks in my brain more than the actual scene. Yeah, it's just hard to deal with sometimes. That changes the mood, if you will.
Has there been a death that was really just blew your mind at how tough it was to deal with? That's something that maybe it attached to something you had personally in your life or an experience that helped you learn about yourself? Yeah,
those are when you'd ask me about personal ones. I guess when I see, I have children, and when maybe like not that long ago, I had a 22-year-old lose his dad. And to watch that 22-year-old walk up to his father in an ER, I could imagine my children coming to see me, and it, those hurt. Same as with babies, and all those things are hard to see. They really take a toll on us, and there is no out for us. We have to deal with it best we can. They're not always easy. My escape is music. I listen to music on the way there, and I'll listen to music on the way back, and it's on the way home. And it's two different types of music, depending on what I've seen. But we all need that escape.
Like what will you put on, like some Creedence Clearwater, or what will you like? What kind of tunes are you talking about, or just something like a Mozart, or what are we?
Yeah, no, I mean my music tastes are all over the map. But heading out to scenes, I'm jamming to some Alice in Chains or some Metallica, and I'm just getting in the
Down in a hole.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm rocking. But when I'm leaving, I'll go mellow. I'll go from maybe some Counting Crows to some sometimes even black gospel music. I mean, my brain just goes to depends on the case and what I see. But yeah, music's an escape for me. It gets me out of that. I don't do this full time. We all have other jobs. We're very we're paid off of the budgets, and we don't have much. I mean, I literally, when I go out and draw blood on the weekends or I vitreal fluid, when I get home, I throw it in my fridge at home in the butter dish. My kids know, hey, Dad, I found my little boy. Hey, my dad has dead people's blood in there.
Yeah.
We work around our jobs.
Oh, damn, that's Satan's condiment right there, boy. Damn, that's at last.
So I mean, we're really
preserves, bro.
We're really on our own. Yeah, my kids are desensitized. They back in the early Windows 98 when you could set your screensaver to just roll through your pictures on your computers. Every once in a while, one would get away from me, and it would just be this gory picture, and I'd have to take it down. But I've my kids are just desensitized to say the least, but they hear me telling stories about what I'm working with.
Yeah.
And so they know how dangerous drugs are. They know.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to even joke about, from being removed from it, it's like, it's easy sometimes to try and make levity of some of the situation, What are there things that you guys have done like in the moment or things ever that happen? You try to keep some levity in the situation because, the only opposite to such a dark moment is some levity.
Yeah. We'll tease the officers, joke around with the officers on scene. Not so much the person laying there, but you try to pick up their spirits. In all sorts of ways. Sometimes you can ask them to hold something and they think they're actually doing something that needs to be done and they're just holding a needle. And, an hour later, they're still standing there holding that needle. And it's like, you can let that go now, But yeah, you have to have a bit of humor. Otherwise, it'll eat you up.
Yeah.